In this video, you will learn how to use the pivot table feature in Excel to create frequency distribution tables, contingency tables, frequency bar graphs, both the regular and side-by-side kind, as well as pie charts. All right, so let's get going. To demonstrate this, I'm using the Titanic data set, which includes 891 passengers, which is about half of all the passengers on the Titanic. And this is a real data set. To get started, we're going to use this really cool feature in Excel called pivot tables. To get started on that, just click on Insert, and then on the left, there'll be a button that says Pivot Table. Just click that. It highlighted our data set. I usually leave the default to have it open up in a new worksheet, though you can certainly pick an existing worksheet if you already had multiple worksheets down here, and then click OK. At this point, it doesn't look like much happened. What you want to do is you want to tell Excel what you want your rows of your frequency table to be. So suppose I want to do survived. All right, it doesn't look like it really did anything. In this data set, a 0 level for survived means the passenger died, didn't survive, and 1 means the passenger did survive. And I just want to have frequencies in the next column. To do that, there's not really a direct way to tell Excel to say, hey, I want frequencies in the next column. What I recommend you do is you take one of your variables in your data set that's a qualitative variable and move that in there. And we'll automatically default to just doing a count. And that's a frequency. Count is frequency. Suppose you only had one variable. The way you can do this is you can actually just take the same variable twice. It's putting a sum, which is not what we want. We want it to be a count instead. So to change it, you just click on that arrow there, then click on value field settings and switch it to count. And there you go. That's your frequency table. Once you create a frequency table, you can actually create a bar graph or a pie chart. So let's do that. Let's do both. I'm going to click on Insert. At the very top here, there is what looks like a bar graph. You're going to click on that. I usually select the first option. And there you go. There's a bar graph. We can make this prettier by changing the title. Or do many other quick design options as well. There's a lot of these really cool options up here, or we can just add little features. If we want to create a pie chart, it's pretty much the same thing. Just click anywhere in your table, click on Insert, and select the pie chart option. And again, I usually pick the first one. Make sure you don't pick 3D pie charts because they can be a little misleading. And again, there's a lot of quick formatting options, which click on Design. Like this one I kind of like. It shows the percentages and the labels. Again, you can change the title as well. Another cool thing that we can do here is we can filter things out. Let's say I want to see just the survival of the women. I could put sex as a filter and then click up here and say only include females. And then here's a pie chart of the survival rates on the Titanic for just the women. And of course, I'd want to change the title of this chart accordingly. And just do that by double clicking. All right, let me delete these two graphs we created. Okay, and you know what? Instead of having sex be a filter, I'm going to have that be my row. And we can see that my data set here includes 314 women and 577 men for a total of 891 people. And let's say I want to put in I want to have each column actually break it down to whether or not they survived. So what I'm doing is I'm creating what's called a two-way table or a contingency table. Sometimes it's called a two-way contingency table. And that's what we're creating here. So let me find the survived variable. And that now is my, my columns. So reading this, we have 81 women that died and 233 women that survived. Alternatively here, we have 468 men that died and 109 that survived. So it seems like the rate of survival was higher for the women compared to the men. All right, we can use this two-way contingency table to create a side-by-side bar graph. So let's do that. You just click on Insert, go to the bar graph area we're in before, and then just click here, the very first option. And this creates a side-by-side bar graph, which visualizes what I just expressed, that the survival rates were higher for the women compared to the men. There are other options here that wouldn't entirely make sense for this data set, but we can do a stacked graph as well, or kind of comparing proportions. So you can see here that the survival rate for the women was higher than the men. And you can just play around with different features. I hope this video was helpful to you, and please let me know if you have any questions.